Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of Yue Eats. I'm Yue, and if the sound is a little bit different today, it's because I misplaced my microphone, so I'm using my backup mic. I'm actually using a lavalier mic, as opposed to the shotgun mic I usually use. Anyways, we are once again at the famous and historical Keens Steakhouse. Now, to longtime followers of this channel, Keens Steakhouse probably will be familiar to some of you, as not only have I mentioned it a few times, but we've eaten here once before. We once came to this historic steakhouse to eat the famous mutton chop, and I really wanted to show that to you guys last time because mutton is a food that's not really commonly served in the US. I mean, unless you're eating at like a Indian restaurant or like a Bangladesh restaurant or something like that, Western cuisines don't usually serve mutton. They serve it with a mint jelly, and they've really pulled it off, and it's amazing. It's got none of the funkiness that a poorly prepared mutton might have. It's to die for. One of my favorite meat dishes to eat in the city of New York in general. However, the reason why we're back at Keens is because for a while, I kind of always felt like I didn't really review any of the steaks at Keens. Now, Keens might be famous for its mutton chop, but Keens is also one of the most famous and well-regarded steakhouses in general here in New York City, and it would be a shame not to review any of the steaks there, right? I mean, if they were mostly known for mutton chops, then they might as well rename it Keens Mutton Chop House. But it's one of the highest reviewed steakhouses in the city of New York. If people like Abraham Lincoln and Teddy Roosevelt and Einstein, all these big shots are eating here and hanging out at the Pipe Club here, then the steaks must be pretty awesome too. So for the first time ever on Yue Eats, we're doing a return to a restaurant. In this case, we're returning to Keens Steakhouse, and let's see how it is. I've been keen on trying it again. Anyways, let's go. Okay guys, so we are seated inside the historic Keens Steakhouse. It definitely captures that old vibe. Last time we ate here, we ate on the first floor, which was not the best lit, so I couldn't really get a picture of all these, pictures of all these pictures, you might say. This time I knew that the second floor is better lit, better lighting, better for these vlogs, and a better shot of all these pipes. The Pipe Club that I mentioned last time, which included the likes of Teddy Roosevelt, Abe Lincoln, and Albert Einstein. They got a painting of Lincoln here too, no doubt to commemorate that. Honestly guys, whether you like steak or not, eating here is just a really, really cool experience. You definitely feel like you're stepping back in time. A lot of the steak's vibe has not been changed in like 100 years, and it's a beautiful, very serene, very cool, historical, and posh atmosphere. But guys, let's take a look at the menu, why don't we? Even the menu is pretty beautiful. Like, they kind of have like a history, I believe, of the steakhouse, but we're not gonna focus on this. Feel free to look this up on Wikipedia afterwards if you would like. And what I find kind of interesting about Keens, out of all the New York steakhouses, it's relatively affordable, at least for lunch. Okay, so the ginger ale and the limeade, I mean, $7 is kind of expensive, but I guess if it's made in-house, if it's homemade, then I guess that kind of explains it. But that mutton chop, the famous mutton chop, that's what we ate last time we came here on our channel. $68 for that famous mutton chop, but if you don't want to pay $68 and get a huge behemoth of a meal, if you come during lunch, you can get a taste of mutton, $29 for, I believe, what is half the portion, or maybe a third. But believe me, even if it's a third, that mutton portion is just so humongous. A third is more than enough for lunch, trust me. They offer prime rib, a smaller version of the prime rib, English cut as well, $46, but to be honest, I'm not the biggest fan of prime rib. I'm more of a steak guy because I like that sear, the crispiness of steak. So we're gonna go right down to this Keens Classics section. This is all the big bucks and all the good stuff. T-bone or New York sirloin. Can't choose between those two. One offers versatility, the other offers me an entire New York sirloin, what I presume is New York strip. So that'll be a game day decision. And then as for side dishes, gonna zero in on this creamed spinach, which I hear great things about. So let's order. Yeah, so I think I'm gonna actually try the fresh limeade.
Fresh limeade? Okay.
Yeah. And then I'm gonna go with the prime T-bone steak.
T-bone? How would you like that cooked?
Medium rare.
Medium rare.
And I hear the cream spinach is pretty good.
Absolutely.
All right, I'll give it a try, and whenever I can't finish, I'll take home.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Now, we reviewed the bread last time we came here. No need to, review it again. Well, you know what? I changed my mind. Let's refresh our memory, why don't we, and taste the bread real quick, just in case some of you haven't seen the first video that we did here at Keens. So, put some butter on top, and just the way I remembered it. It's still plenty pillowy on the inside. Anyways, quick little recap there. And now let's try the Limeade. Now, last time we did the fresh ginger ale, which I really enjoyed. Well, at least I enjoyed it after stirring it. I love lemonade. Don't really have Limeade often. Looks fresh, and it does look homemade, like that little mint garnish in it. How refreshing will this be? Ooh. Oh, this is me. Wow, thank you. Ooh. Wow, thank you so much. Whoa. All right, let's quickly finish our review of this limeade and then zero in on the steak, which is the whole reason why we're here. So basically, I don't drink limeade often, usually lemonade, and I like lemonade for being more sweet. But this limeade, I don't know, like it's less strong than lemonade. Like I think lime as a flavor just tends to be less sharp, or more neutral than lemonade a little bit. I think lemons are more sour, hence more sugar to counteract that sourness. But lime is kind of more, I don't know, it's kind of more subtle, I guess. Obviously, I know limes are still sour, but they're less sour, they're more subtle than lemonade. That's what I meant to say. So this is a great, cool, refreshing drink, perfect sweetness, perfect sour-sweet ratio. And it's, it's pretty with that big ice cube block and the mint leaf. Although I wish the ice cubes were not as big. I mean, they're pretty because they're big, but that means, a few gulps and there's not much left. But steak time, guys. Check out this beautiful T-bone steak. And this is actually a T-bone steak. Look, there's actually a T. Sometimes T-bone steaks just kind of have like a little, circular bone here. And I gotta say, this is a beautiful looking steak. It's got like some sear or like some grill marks. I just get the feeling that it's looking pretty fatty and pretty juicy. That's the filet mignon side. Okay, the filet mignon side is not quite looking as seared as the New York strip side or the New York sirloin side, but I get it. There's gonna be pieces of it that are gonna be sticking out into the air and not in contact with the grill, but that's okay. The side that they were able to get pressed onto the grill looks well seared. The cream spinach is looking pretty not bad as well. Love that green color, just the way I like it, not too liquidy, more leafy. And it's actually still pretty big of a portion. It's just that this steak is so big that it kind of pales in comparison. Let's not make the mistake of letting this get cold. First, let's see if we got a sear on the bottom as well. Doesn't seem like we do so much, but that's okay. Not always necessary, just a nice thing to have if you can get it. Let's cut off a piece of this, why don't we? Okay, looking deliciously pink on the inside. Crispy sear on the outside as well. Keens, part 2. Oh man. A second bite, and then we will break it down. Alright guys, I am so glad I decided to come back and do a sequel review because this steak is outstanding. This is up there with all the best steakhouses that I've eaten at. Gallagher's, Delmonico's, Sparks. The steak is just so juicy on the inside. It might be hard to show you. It is delicious and I can't complain at all about the way that steak tastes. As mentioned earlier, it just has amazing sear evenly across the whole steak. Now, I got lucky in that the edge really had a good crispy sear there. You know, since the steak looks like it was grilled, there's some blind spots on the insides, you know, so if you get like a blind spot in the middle, I guess that's unfortunate, but even if you don't get that crispiness, the inside is more than juicy and tender enough. The steak appears sufficiently rested. I hate when steaks are like dripping and all that liquid that leaches out, you know, when you cut into it before it's been done resting. In this case, I got my steak pretty fast. I think I got my food in like maybe 10 minutes, really fast. But that being said, the steak was not rushed out to me. I mean, they left sufficient time for it to rest so that the steak kind of like firms up again and it doesn't just like completely push out liquid when you cut into it. Guys, this New York sirloin side is just outstanding. Okay, let me know what you think. It could be more medium than medium rare, but it's still juicy on the inside. Trust me on that. Hard to nail the cook on these T-bone steaks. They're uneven in width, and there's that big bone in the middle, so I don't necessarily fault them for that. It can be pretty tough. All that matters is that it tastes good. And the steak too is really marbled. You can just tell that it's a very marbled piece of beef, so it's evenly fatty throughout. What more can I say? It's hard to find a more perfect steak than this. I mean, there's never gonna be perfect, but it's hard to beat this. We just tried the New York sirloin / New York strip side, so let's try the filet mignon side, why don't we? This is the tenderloin side, which will be not marbled at all. It will be very lean, but as you can see, it will be extremely tender, hence a tenderloin. I'm not expecting this filet mignon part to be as flavorful as the New York sirloin half. You know, it makes sense because it's not known for being marbled filet mignon, it's more known for tenderness. So let's see how it tastes. Okay, the filet mignon side is not really that great, to be honest. As I mentioned, filet mignon is already pretty flavorless. It's more known for being tender. It's pretty much devoid of all fat. That's actually why it's expensive, because it's lean, yet it's incredibly tender. But in this case, it's devoid of all flavor. This filet mignon half actually seems a little bit under-seasoned. Like it could really use a little bit more salt and pepper. And it's just really overcooked, I think. Like I think this is medium well, maybe even well done. Like it's so cooked to heck that it kind of feels like chalk in your mouth. The sirloin / New York strip side is just so much larger than the filet mignon side. And also the filet mignon side also, because it's smaller, it tends to be more lifted off the bone. So I get it, it's hard to cook these T-bone steaks evenly. I know grill masters sometimes try to get around this by having the bigger part of the T-bone on the hotter part of the grill and the smaller part of the T-bone on the less hot part of the grill, but still, it's an age-old problem. Let's now try the creamed spinach. And people say this is one of the best cream spinaches you can find in all of New York. And as I said, it's looking good to me. I hate when cream spinach is too wet and too liquidy and, you know, too mushy. And this one looks leafy and more firm, more highlighting the freshness of the green spinach. So ain't nothing to it but to do it. And by do it, I mean eat it. Hey, not bad. What's cool about this cream spinach is when you dive deep into it, it kind of like changes colors on the inside. Like the outside is more dark and green and the inside is more creamy. Outstanding. You got that creaminess on the inside, like that creamy, cheesy flavor. And then on the outside, you know, because this is really fresh spinach, so the outside being more dry means that the whole thing is not just a creamy, wet mess. You get that creamy inside with that delicious, creamy, milky, cheesy flavor, contrasted with more dry leaves on the outside. So the whole thing is just balanced and it works. Now, if you prefer a cream spinach that is just overall more wet and creamy, then this won't be your favorite, but I personally really enjoy it. You know, besides that filet mignon half of the steak, I really enjoyed that steak. I enjoyed the bread as well, and I really enjoyed the cream spinach. I wonder if Abraham Lincoln sat here and ate all these things in that order, but maybe we shouldn't go home quite yet. Maybe we should try one of their desserts. All right, for dessert, after dinner, and drinks, they got nothing. No, I'm just kidding. I'm guessing, yep, they got something on the inside. Okay, everything is 14 bucks except for things noted otherwise. And then they got like key lime pie, creme brulee, Lady M chocolate cake. That's a little lame. That's from Lady M, the store, so that's not made in-house, I'm guessing. And then they got some ice creams. Coffee sounds pretty good after a big steak meal as well as dessert. And then these are their alcoholic libations, I presume. So, you know what? We are in New York, and I do think New York cheesecakes are better in New York than they are outside of it. So let's try their New York cheesecake, why don't we? By the way, guys, look at how much this place has filled up. You know, it was pretty much empty when I sat. You know, oftentimes I come right when these places open for more privacy, but just look at how crowded this place suddenly became. Shows that its reputation precedes it. This cream spinach was fantastic. Look, I just completely cleaned the plate on this. And I also knocked out all this limeade. This was an incredibly refreshing drink. I highly recommend this if you want a non-alcoholic beverage here. All right, it was a long wait, but we finally have our New York cheesecake, and it does not look the way I was expecting. I mean, this almost looks like an edible version of SpongeBob SquarePants. I mean, look, it's yellow and holy and porous is he. But yeah, just take a look at this cheesecake. As much as I was making fun comparing it to SpongeBob, the holes are a welcome sight. It means I'm expecting a nice airy dessert. Hopefully it will be nice and fluffy, and that appears to be the case. Oh man, oh, I can't even pick it up. It's just that delicate.
Salads out first. Yeah, wait. Thank you.
Very good. It's got incredible texture. I mean, it's as fluffy as it looks. It is indeed airy, and it's so fluffy that it's kind of hard to pick up. It's so fluffy that it almost like sticks to like your spoon. See, look at that. It's rich and decadent. Sweet, maybe a little bit on the overly sweet end for me, but it is a cheesecake, you know? You kind of need to expect it to be a little bit more indulgent and more sweet. I was hoping that, you know, that graham cracker bottom, I was hoping would be more crunchy and, you know, like I tend to really look forward to that graham cracker bottom to really balance out with the creaminess of the rest of the cheesecake. So while this is a very fluffy cheesecake, it's a little bit less balanced than other ones I've had, so it's not my favorite. To me, it's a little too rich and a little bit too rich and heavy for me. Still a very good dessert, nonetheless. But anyways, guys, I think that's going to be it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really wanted to come back to Keens for a while now. I feel like when we ate here last time, we only really scratched the surface of this restaurant. We got a mutton chop, which was really unique, but we didn't really show off all the steak options they have here. So this time we tried many options and, you know, hopefully did a more thorough review of the restaurant. For me, it's understandable that T-bone steaks don't always cook evenly. It's unfortunate that Keens was not able to overcome that, in this case, that obstacle, although it is a common obstacle. I would still say, based on the New York sirloin side of the T-bone, that Keens is still among the best steakhouses I've been to in New York so far. I would say I definitely would put it up there with Gallagher's and Sparks and Delmonico's. I think it is worth eating here if you just get like a single cut of steak, like just get a New York sirloin, or I'm sure their filet mignon alone is gonna be better. And the vibe here is also great. You really feel like you're still in the 1800s. It really kept that historical vibe. So honestly, guys, if you're looking for a great steak, a great meal in general, almost forgot to answer the question that we always seek to answer on this channel. Historical Keens Steakhouse, worth the hype or not? I would say absolutely. While we did have some gripes with the steak a little bit, overall, this was a fantastic experience eating here. I generally liked everything I ate, and If you want a great meal, as well as a great atmosphere and a great piece of history, I highly recommend checking this place out. But anyways, guys, that's going to be it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. Have you guys been to Keens before? What are your favorite steakhouses in New York City or anywhere else in the world? Let me know in the comments, because great minds eat alike. If you like my videos, make sure you like and subscribe. That way you stay up to date whenever I post another video. Until next time, I'll see you later.